Hello everyone, this is Nick from the ArcadeHunters.com bringing you the final part of the Big Lebowski preview that they held over at Modern Pinball New York City. Now, first things off, I'm not going to be talking about any of the controversy surrounding this game. For the folks out there that don't know what I'm talking about, if you didn't watch the disclaimer video, basically there's been a over 43-page forum post over on pinside.com with a lot of people talking about how they got their money refunded and a lot of bad blood going on representing both sides, and it's something that I really don't want to get into. I really want to just focus on the game and help, promote the game, as I said in the disclaimer. Now, if you want to know more about it, as I said, it's over 43 pages long as I'm recording this now. My good friend Nate Shivers, who runs Coast to Coast Pinball podcast, did two episodes all about this. The first one's basically talking about the controversy, saying about how everything started and how it all blew up. But then the second one is an excellent interview that he has with Roger Sharp. Now, for the folks out there who don't know who Roger Sharp is, Roger Sharp worked at Williams from, I think, like the 60s onward to, when they started producing slot machines. And one of the things that Roger is excellent at doing is licensing. So what he does now that he's not working for Williams anymore is he does licensing rights. He's an independent contractor. So if you've ever played games like Fast and the Furious Supercars out in the arcade, he's the guy that went to NBC Universal and said, hey, I got my friends over at Raw Thrills. They make video arcade games, and they'd like to make a video arcade game based off of your movie. And that's the type of guy that he is. So I think Dutch Pinball has the absolute creme de la creme guy working on it. So, on with the game. First, I really want to say it's one thing that Roger touched with on the interview is I don't see how so many people are very negative, hoping the game doesn't come out, hoping the whole thing blows up in their face, because it's the old axiom, going to Street Fighter 4 with one of the announcers saying, is competition breeds excellence. And I think it's fantastic to see that, we're getting into 2015, and there's going to be multiple companies that are producing pinball machines again. And I feel like we're going to be getting into a new renaissance where, we had in the 90s where Williams were making just these terrific games, and it was stepping up everybody's A game. I just remember people being so unhappy that Stern was the only game in town. And I could stretch this video on for about 45 minutes just talking about all of the other companies that are out there, and you've seen the videos on the channel. You've seen Wrath of Olympus from Riot Games. You've seen Spooky Pinball's America's Most Haunted. Jersey Jack's got, Wizard of Oz, and they got The Hobbit coming out. So, and even the stuff that I haven't played, like Highway Pinball's Full Throttle and Skippy Pinball's Predator game. So there's companies out there in 2015, and they're saying, we want to make pinball machines. We want to get in on this, because there's players that want it, collectors that want it, and believe it or not, there's still guys out there that vend these games that want to have them out there. So, on with the game. Sorry about that. There's over 4 minutes just talking about nothing. But the game plays like an old 90s Williams game, and it looks like an old 90s Williams game. I love the art style to this game. I love that they went with a complete hand-drawn art style to it. It looks like if the Big Lebowski game came out when the movie came out, this is what I think would look like, other than the color dot matrix display. And, probably with all the adult language, which was kind of a hard selling point for a lot of people. Was when I was talking to Steve Epstein, who's the co-owner of Modern Pinball, he goes, I don't know how we're going to be able to run this game here, because, Steve Epstein is all about bringing the pinball back to the masses, back to children, and, hopefully they'll figure out how to get a more family-friendly speech on the game if they put in, as I said, the lines from the TV edit on it, that would be friggin' hilarious if they had some of those edits on there, because some of them are pretty ridiculous, and just like how all of the Big Lebowski is pretty ridiculous. So, as I was saying, the game feels really good. They have some really nice angles to the shots. They got some nice scoop areas and stuff like that. The guys were telling me from Dutch Pinball, they were saying that, there are some things that are going to be changed, because just like the apron says, and you have to try to explain this to people that were complaining about the games not working, I think it was like after 2 o'clock on Friday, they started screwing up, is they're prototypes. These are not full production games yet. And I just think it's great that they're letting us play prototype games before the software's even finished. I mean, this brought me back to playing Wizard of Oz over at the New York Comic Con when Jack brought it over, because pretty much the only thing you can do in the game is shoot the sides and get the multi-ball, which feels a lot like Whitewater or Circus Voltaire, where you have to shoot the 2 targets on the sides of the ramp and then shoot up the ramp, and that'll open up the lock for the multi-ball. But the other 2 things that you can do in the game are, of course, you can see that I'm trying to get a better shot of while I overdub this, is the mini playfield, trying to get the bowling alley. I really loved how that worked. It took a little bit to, getting used to. I thought you angled the ball with the flippers, but no, it just goes back and forth, and you use the ball launcher, and I like it that it just drops the ball down the ramp. It does not fire it down the ramp, so it doesn't shoot it really fast. You don't really get a lot of control with it, but it takes some getting used to, but for what I was playing of it, it worked really cool. Sometimes it wasn't registering it through the game, but as I said, prototype. And you'll be seeing it towards the end of the video. It's got the really cool extra playfield with the actual bowling alley on the top that has the little loop shot that you can do, the extra bowling skill shot, and of course the car that comes out and you bash it and Walter starts cursing at it. And I was still super surprised that they have a lot of speech calls, a lot of the all the lines from the movie, to music in the game. Oh my god, how you walk up to the game and it plays Bob Dylan and Carlos Santana and CCR, all the stuff that everybody remembers for the movie. One of our good friends, Alan, who everybody lovingly calls the Pinaholic. I mean, he just put on that. He hit the start button. And he's just like, goes, "Oh man, Dylan, I love this song." And he just sat there, just listening to the song, not playing the game. And it was something really cool when you see, how many, just music bridges the generations, I guess you can say. And everybody just really had a great time with it. And hopefully this game gets out there in the hands of players, because as I said in the game, in the disclaimer video that I said, I think that you'll enjoy this game a lot. It's for a first effort from a brand new pinball company, it's absolutely insane that they were able to pull something like this off. And you wouldn't think like, oh, it's just their first time making a game. It's just like, wow, this feels like these guys have been, this has probably been brewing in their heads for God knows how long. And I mean, these guys, I think once the code is finally finalized, I think they're going to knock it out of the park. I think this game is going to be, it's hard to say, because as I said, you can't really review pinball games until all the code's finished. And, it feels great, and I think it's going to play great once they're, finally finished with the code. So, once again, I'm Nick from the Arcade Hunters. Thanks very much for watching, and we'll see you soon.